Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. My name is Dietrich, and today we are test driving a 2024 Mazda CX-50 Premium Plus. The CX-50 is one of two compact sport utility vehicles that Mazda offer. The other one is the very excellent CX-5, which I have driven and happens to be my personal favorite of all the vehicles available in the compact SUV class. Toyota RAV4, Honda CR-V, Hyundai Tucson, blah, 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 blah. I like the CX-5 the best. So I was very excited to drive this CX-50. This is the more off-road orientated version of the Mazda compact SUV. And they did some pretty interesting design changes to it. The CX-50 has a lower roof line so that you can load stuff onto the top. Active lifestyle components like bicycles and snowboards and kayaks and stand-up paddleboards and whatever. Of course, being a vehicle that's allegedly more capable off-road, they did add a little bit of extra ground clearance. You've got about a little over an inch of ground clearance more on the CX-50 compared to the CX-5. CX-50 also has a longer wheelbase, which ostensibly gives you a little bit more passenger room on the interior. It's also a slightly longer vehicle in general. And from a driver's perspective, it's demonstrably worse in every possible way. The longer wheelbase does not contribute to a smoother ride on the CX-50 as you might expect it to. Both the CX-5 and the CX-50 ride okay. They're on the firmer end of the scale of the compact SUV world, which is something that nerds who strap GoPros to their heads and post the results on YouTube typically prefer, because it gives you better steering. And the steering is okay on the CX-50, but it's great on the CX-5. Ditto the handling. And I'm not overly convinced that the CX-50 is really all that much more capable off-road. Both vehicles have the same optional engines, or standard engine and optional engine, I should say. This one is equipped with the entry-level 187 horsepower four-cylinder. It's also available with a turbo four-cylinder that puts out 256. In the CX-5, I said that the standard 187 horsepower engine was fine, not much point in upgrading to the turbo. In a CX-50, I'd actually tell you to get the turbo, because the rest of the car's underwhelming enough that at least the turbo would give it some punch and make it more entertaining. Both of the cars are equipped with standard all-wheel drive. Both of them come standard with 6-speed automatic transmissions, regardless of which engine you choose. The extra inch of ground clearance isn't going to do you a whole lot of good, really, in the CX-50, unless we're talking about potentially getting through deep snow and not getting high-centered. The type of off-roading that people are going to do in either of these cars could probably be done with a Mazda 3 hatchback. If you're just going to drive on a dirt trail to get to a campsite or go mountain biking or something, nobody's taking a CX-50 on the Rubicon. If you really want a compact SUV in this class that is genuinely more capable off-road, and you're not looking to spend Jeep Wrangler money or drive a Jeep Wrangler, which I don't blame you there, go with the Forester Wilderness. That would be the choice for superior off-road performance in the compact crossover SUV segment. I really cannot think of any reason to recommend a CX-50 to anyone. If you want a Mazda, very good. If you'd like a compact SUV Mazda, very good. Buy a CX-5. It's the better car. It really is. And it's less expensive, MSRP-wise. If you want an expressive-looking vehicle in the compact SUV class, I mean, I don't know. I guess if you fall in love with the way this thing looks, that's really the only reason that I could see why somebody would buy it. But to me, it doesn't look very attractive. It looks like it got smushed, and the details, the little black bits jutting out around the headlights and everything else, just, I don't like the way it looks. You know, if you want a crazy looking compact sport utility wagon, Hyundai Tucson's right there. It's got all those LED lights in the front. That's looks-wise the one that I would probably choose if I wanted a crazy-looking car. If you want one that just looks butch, I don't know, Ford Bronco Sport. I mean, there's no reason to buy this car. There is the CX-5 is fantastic. There is a reason to buy that one. The CX-50, not so much. And I'm getting disappointed with Mazda because, and I think part of it is the longer wheelbase on this car. They're not as good at making larger vehicles. They're great when it comes to small cars. I've driven and reviewed, it was a while ago, but I've driven an MX-5, loved it. Even though I'm too tall for it, I still love driving it, fantastic. Driven a bunch of Miatas and MX-5s over the years. I'm way too big for them physically because I'm 6'5", but they're still incredible to drive. I've done the Mazda 3 Turbo Premium Plus hatchback. That car was great, I loved it. Even almost considered buying one for a minute there. That was how much I loved that car. CX-30, fantastic. CX-5, fantastic. CX-90, not so great. CX-50, not so great. I don't think Mazda is good at building large cars, or at least they need more practice at it. Because historically, the great cars that they have built have been smaller vehicles. You know, they're not Chevrolet that's been building Suburban since 1933. They're Mazda. They build 323s, 626s, and, you know, I don't know. This isn't their bag to me. The extra 5 inches. The other thing about this car, it doesn't feel quite as well put together as the CX-5 that I drove. And notably, it's not built in the same factory. This is built in Alabama, and the CX-5 is built in Japan. So, quality-wise, to me, the CX-5 felt nicer than the CX-50. And maybe it's not fair for me to keep comparing this to the CX-5 and I should judge it on its own merits. Okay, fine. On its own merits, it's a funky-looking, allegedly off-road, active lifestyle-oriented, compact sport utility vehicle that I would rank mid-pack. This is in one of the most, if not the most competitive segment in the car business right now, if you look at all the different models that are available. And now that I think about it, I might rank it like, it's towards the back of the pack for me. And I did a top 10 video on my top 10 best compact sport utility vehicles. I put the CX-5 at the very top. It was number 1. I think the Tucson was number 2. I think the Forester was number 3, and it was kind of on down from there. This would maybe be in the 6, 7, 8 range. I'd have to re-rank them, but this wouldn't be anywhere near the top. And you know, part of it might be the price point, because the CX-5 that I drove was a 2.5S Select, which was a base model, and it just, the value blew me away. It had so many great features for a 28,000 and change car. This is like a 39,000 and change car, and it has some extra stuff. It's got full leather seats with the contrasted kind of bronze stitching that lets you know that it's supposed to be a sport-ish model, and the leather's very nice. It's got a Bose stereo system that's pretty good. It's got a heads-up display. It still doesn't have a touchscreen. It's got the Mazda rotary knob to scroll through all this nonsense. It still doesn't have factory nav. You have to buy a chip from the dealer to make it have navigation, which on the CX-5 I thought was good. That was good value because it was an entry-level car with a relatively entry-level price point, and if you bought it and you wanted to upgrade to factory navigation, it would be a pretty straightforward process to do it. But on a car that's $11,000 more expensive, no, give me the nav. I already paid you 11 more grand. Give me the nav. So, you know, I don't see it. It's got a panoramic sunroof. I could care less. Power is decent out of the base 2.5 liter engine as ever, but I would still, if someone had their heart set on one of these, I'd say, you know what, it's expensive enough, just stretch a little more and get the turbo. Because then at least that would add some entertainment if it had another, what is that, 70 horsepower. It would be better. Because then, you know, the CX-5 didn't need it because it was good enough on its own. This needs a little something extra to make its existence justifiable. That's pretty much all I have to say about it. If you want to watch my full review where I complain about it slightly less, there'll be a link to that in the description in the comments. If you have a CX-50 and you absolutely love it, you can leave me a comment telling me what a monster I am and how far I missed the point of the vehicle. And other than that, always drive safely and have a great day. Bye-bye.